Hey everybody, quick note before we start this video. There's a couple things I need to speak about. One is you're going to see that there's a lot of cuts in the parts where if you're watching me talk about the event, you'll see like there's a lot of the audio is going to be off from me speaking. It seems to do this every once in a while. It's very annoying. So it's not that I'm editing out a bunch of stuff. It's literally I'm trying to keep cutting to match the audio to me speaking, the video, and it just keeps going. And no matter what I was doing, it would get right, and then it would get wrong real quick. So that's one thing. The other thing is the video that you're going to see actually of the alien footprints. You're gonna see like this black thing kind of swirling around in that, and that's just because when I kind of was just in a hurry. I wanted to just hurry up and get this stuff filmed before my ex-wife got there. And so what happened was the lens cap that is on I had a Canon camera. It wasn't a very good one, but I took that lens cap off and it was hanging by the string. So as I'm filming, the lens cap is doing this damn thing where it's going around the in front of the thing. So that's the only thing that's an anomaly with the video. You'll see it. It just comes in there every once in a while. It's kind of annoying. Just kind of overlook it if you can. The other is you'll see that I use a flashlight to circle around the footprints. It's because in that camera, when you're looking through the viewfinder of it, everything appears darker than what it's going to look like after post-production when you're watching it back on screen. So I didn't realize that I was going to be able to see this stuff as well as I did I wish it would have been better, but so yeah, that's what the flashlight circling was, and that's also the same flashlight that I spoke about in the video when I said, I walked down the dark hallway with a flashlight and a sword. The last thing I want to note is when you see in that hallway, you're going to see a light coming through there. And I say in the video that the hallway's dark. Well, that's because in the daytime, the light's coming through the window on that side of the building. And so it appears to be a lit room, but I assure you that room is not lit. That's just because the sun, where it hits right there on those windows and that side, it's just that bright, so it looks like there's a light there, but there is no light on that side of the building. That's all dark. So I just wanted to clear a couple of those things up before we get started into the video. If you have questions, please leave them down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and share this as much as you can. This is actual real alien footprints and evidence of an alien that came into my school. And yes, by the way, it's the same thing as the Draconian, what people call Draconian. Draconian are the same thing as the Mothman. This is from all my research after everything happened with me. I did a whole bunch of research. People call them Draconian. They're also the same description as of the Mothman, which were descriptions of gargoyles at one time in the humans past. And further back than that would be dragon people. They're just dragon people. There's no, anything different than the descriptions of what dragon people are through all those other descriptions. And I'll make a video about that stuff too. And I think I ran on long enough, and enjoy the video. It's the one, the only Alcor Star Child, and I'm here to share my story with you about my alien experience in 2017. So it was a normal, ordinary day, right? I got up in the morning, I, just did my normal routine, got ready to teach martial arts, taught martial arts, class went really well, nothing different, nothing out of the ordinary. Then I ended up going to the gym like I normally do. Lifted weights for about 2.5, 3 hours. So went to the gym, had a good time, was feeling good in the gym. Left the gym, didn't feel anything different actually felt energetic like I normally do when I leave the gym. Once I left the gym and I got back to my karate school, I went inside and I turned on the TV just to put some YouTube video in the background, just for background noise, because I'll play video games and I'll listen to stuff on YouTube, you know, because I have multiple things going on at once. And then I turned on my computer. I opened up my computer. I went to log into World of Warcraft because I'm a gamer and I had stuff to do on the game. Anybody knows about World of Warcraft, the world doesn't stop. Just because you stop, the world continues to keep going. So there was some important stuff I wanted to get done on the game. So I started to get on World of Warcraft, and I didn't drink anything. I didn't eat anything when I came back. Last time I drank anything, it was actually in the gym. I drank water from the water fountain, and that was pretty much it. And because I already had a meal earlier before I went to the gym, right? Like I loaded up on, you know, proteins and carbs before I went to the gym, and I just drank some water at the gym. So when I came back, I didn't eat anything. I didn't drink anything. So I didn't consume anything. But turned on the computer and was about to sit down and play the game, I remember saying to myself, wow, I feel so tired. And it was because I had this like overwhelming exhaustion that just hit me, like just completely, if you can imagine, like you just ran like a sprint, or if you just, like, for those who are not runners, imagine if you're not a runner, you know what it's like when you have to hurry up and run after something, or run really fast, and then you get so exhausted afterwards and you just want to lay down on the ground and just relax, right? So that's the type of feeling that I had, like I just was just put through it. And I know it wasn't the gym because it was a normal workout routine. So I turned everything off and locked doors. There's a door in the front, there's a door in the back. Locked both doors. And then I turned on my alarm because I had ADT, which is the best alarm system you can get in America. And then I laid down to go to sleep. And I was thinking to myself, I'll just take like a quick 1 hour nap or whatever, and then I'll wake up and then I'll get back on the game and play the game. So I laid down on the floor because that's where I slept. I slept on the floor because I had really nice karate mats. I laid down on the floor to go to sleep with my sword next to me because, I'm big into sword fighting as well. So I always slept with my sword next to me. It was like kind of like a part of me at the time. So I lay down to go to sleep, and then I hear this noise, which sounded, and like I was knocked out. I don't even remember having any dreams. People asked me, did you have any dreams? I said, no, I don't remember having any dreams. I remember hearing this rustling sound, like a plastic bag crinkling. So I popped up and I went and I was thinking, is there a mouse or a rat in here? And I went and looked at the trash can to see maybe, and then when I looked at the trash can, I was like, wait a minute, there's no mice or rats in here. That just doesn't make any sense. So I walked back over to where I was at, where I was sleeping, and I saw dirty footprints going across the floor. But I wasn't even really thinking so much about those dirty footprints as I need to go to the bathroom and maybe I should check and see if that noise came from the other side of the hallway, which was another part of the building. So as I walk by the dirty footprints, I didn't really pay too much attention to them. I was thinking, well, I'm gonna have to clean that shit up in the morning. That's all I was thinking. I kind of clean it up in the morning. I don't know why there's dirty footprints on my clean floor, because the thing is after karate class, because we had karate class earlier, the students are required to wipe everything down. Someone will sweep the floor and another person will mop the floor while other people are wiping down the stuff, wiping down other things. So everything in that school is always completely clean, completely spotless. Not only is it a place where we do martial arts and stuff on, and we roll around on the floor, for grappling things and stuff, but I also slept on that floor, so keep it clean. So for it to have dirt on the floor was a big deal, but I was still kind of out of it because I think it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when I had woke up, when this noise woke me up. First, I turned off my alarm. So I turned off my ADT, and then I open the back door, and I go through the back door, and I go down the hallway with my sword on my shoulder, and I announce myself. Hello, I'm a trained martial artist, and I have a sword in my hand. Do not jump out or make any sudden moves or anything like that may startle me, because you will get hurt. Let me try to get you out of here if we can, because see, I had to announce myself like that because on the other side of the building it's abandoned, right? And there, before I was there, a couple of years before, because it's been abandoned for a while, somebody had broke in and spray painted on the walls. So I didn't know if maybe somebody broke in again. So this is not out of the ordinary. This has happened a few times where I've heard a noise on the other side of the door during that hallway, but I've never found anybody. But I've had where I've heard noises over there, right? And I am not a spiritual person. I am not into ghost stories. I don't even watch horror films. I don't get into any of that type of stuff, or the woo-woo stuff, right? Anytime somebody tell me about a ghost story, or they saw a ghost or whatever, I just, I'm like, okay, yeah, you saw something. Cool. Can you repeat it? Can we measure it? Is there some scientific way we can review the evidence of this thing? And if it's just somebody going off their story, well, I know that people's minds can be tricked. They can see things that aren't really there, because the mind is, that's why they even have the word, the words, your mind is playing tricks on you, or my mind is playing tricks on me, because people's minds are very vulnerable to suggestive thought or just fears and stuff, and fear is like a big problem. So anyhow, back to the story. So I'm not a ghost guy. So anyhow, I go down this dark hallway with my flashlight. I guess I forgot to mention, of course I have a flashlight on me. But the other end of the thing is the reason why I didn't turn the lights on in the hallway down there is because there's no electricity on that side. I have to leave open my door and the light on so I can see in the bathroom there. Because there's no bathroom on my side where the dojo is. So I have my flashlight, I have my sword, I go walking down this dark hallway, which has some corridor rooms and stuff, right? And I just announce myself. Most people, I've had people over there at nighttime that come to my karate school, and I told them, go down that hallway, and they look down there like, nah, I'm not going down there. They get so spooked out because it's a scary ass hallway. But I'm not afraid. I'm not stupid either. I do, I am cautious about things when something could be sketchy, but the fear is not really there. So in other words, I don't get the goosebumps. I don't get the hair standing up on the back of my neck type of deal. So I walk down this dark hallway. I check all the rooms and everything. Then after everything's cleared, then I go back to the bathroom, and then I go to the bathroom. The reason why I didn't go to the bathroom first is because if somebody was down the hallway or somebody was hiding in there while I'm in the bathroom, then somebody could maybe sneak attack me from behind. So I wanted to clear the perimeter before I actually used, the restroom. So after I use the restroom, I go back into the dojo area, and the door that takes you to that hallway there is the door that has this type of a latch lock on the inside that you would put a padlock in, so there's no way anybody can get through there without kicking the door through. And it has the alarm system attached to it as well. So I go through, I lock the door, and then I turn on the alarm system, and I look at the dirt again. I'm like, oh, I have to clean that up when I wake up. So I laid back and go back to sleep. That's the crazy part, right? I went back to sleep. So when I wake up in the morning, which is about 7, 8 o'clock, I'm not exactly certain on the times. I didn't really time stamp everything down. I went to sleep at, such and such time. And in the day, by the way, when I came back from the gym, the sun was still up. So it was still daytime. I didn't come back at night. Just so you know that it was out of the ordinary for me to sleep from around 6, 7 o'clock in the daytime till about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It was just, it's not often that I do that. And this type of exhaustion was just, it was almost like being it was almost like if you've ever had surgery and you're put under surgery, you know how they, just like when they knock you out with the gas for surgery, it was almost identical to the same type of a feeling like that. Like when I went to sleep, I was just completely out. In fact, when I woke up, it felt very similar to waking up from surgery too. That's why when somebody says, well, maybe you're drugged or something, somebody put something in your drink or whatever, and then you came back to your school and maybe you drank something or ate something, and that's what knocked you out so they can do all this stuff, which who the hell would do all this anyhow in the first place? It wouldn't make any sense, you know. Who am I? I'm just a martial arts school owner. I wake back up in the morning about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. It was something like that. I get up and I walk back by the footprints that are on the ground, and I remember thinking, wow, that's just, what the fuck is that? What is that? So I bend down and I look at these prints more carefully, and I know that they're not human. I know instantly then, because now I've got all my senses about me, that these are not human footprints. I see this two-toed footprint, and at first I thought it was a hoof, right? That's what I thought. I'm like, oh wow, this is a hoof. I quickly realize that they're not hoof prints, and the reason why is because you can tell that the weight fluctuates with the way with each step. No two steps are identical when you look at the footprints. They're identical as in proportion, but they're not identical as in how they're laying on the ground. By the way, it was a 2-layered print. So the bottom print was like this filmish gray color, and then off of that was the this dirt shake, almost like you came out of a desert or off of a sandy beach. It was that type of sand. So it wasn't like heavy forest dirt, but it was more like sandy beach, or like I said, desert type dirt. Okay. That's the way it looked. And the dirt was pretty heavy. So there was obviously, wherever this being came from, it literally just came from a dirty area and come walking across there. So a sandy or beachy area, and then come into my school. The footprints led from where I was sleeping. That's where they were going to. The footprints came from the back door. So the door that I went through earlier, the one in the far back, which it takes you to the dark hallway. I go and turn off my alarm, and I immediately go open the back door, and I look on the other side of the door to see where the footprints are going, where they're coming from, right? Because they're going to that back door, obviously. I look, there is nothing on the other side of that hallway as far as footprints, not a damn thing. And I went all through that whole building, everywhere, through the entire building. No footprints at all. And with that much dirt that was coming across my floor, there definitely would have been some dirt on the other side of the door somewhere. And also, by the way, and I show in a video, the outside of my school, I show the building, and you can see that there is no dirt like that anywhere. I'm dead smack in the middle of a city in Ohio, right? That in an area that's far away from the lakefront, way far away from that. It's literally right across the street from a high school, and it's just nothing but concrete around. So I show around the whole place, there's no dirt. So this is out of place, right? The dirt inside the school is definitely out of place. And the footprints, it's as if they just phased through that door. They just come right through the door. I look at the door jamb, and there is a mark on the door jamb. So there's nothing near the where the door is locked, but there is a mark above it, way higher, much further higher above it. In fact, I would say that the mark is probably about 5.5 feet up. I don't know what that is, a meter. So about 5.5 feet above the ground is where the mark is, and it has like this Nike swoop kind of look to it, right? And then on the other side of the door, on the wall, there is only one other mark and nothing else. And it's like this black splatter that goes across the wall, which if you understand ballistics and if you look at how that splatter is, there's only so much room in this hallway, in this door jamb, because that hallway literally was just big enough for a single normal sized door and not much bigger than that. In other words, it wasn't some wide hallway. It was just literally the size of the door frame was just enough to get into this hallway. I see this splatter on the wall, and I'm looking at that. I'm like, what the hell is that? What is that, right? And there's nothing on the floor from that splatter, by the way. It's just whatever's a splatter on the wall is on the wall, nothing on the floor. Whatever the smudge is on the inside of that door frame is different from the splatter on the wall. They're two different substances, right? And there's nothing of that on the floor. So the substance of the swoop that is on the door frame there it's like a black earthy like soil in a way. So it's not greasy. It's literally like some type of dirt, you know, like a soil. And it has it's black, but it has this greenish tint to it. So it has this black but greenish tint to it. And the bizarre part is also it has that double layered with that film underneath of it, that gray film. And then inside of that is this is really bizarre, but it is what it is. I'm just telling you what it looked like. My ex-wife, she left her testimony, so I'll share that on the video too. On another video where you can hear her talking about the same thing. It had this gold speckly dust that was layered around the outside. Even when you look at the pictures of this swoop, you can see how it's very bizarre that the outer layer of the thing is even different from the inner layer, right? It's, even if you took like a substance, like a type of a clay, and you balled it up or something, and you rolled it onto some gold speckly stuff, and then you'd smudge that on some paper or a wall or whatever, that stuff would still be inside of that stuff. So it was very weird how the substance on the outside was different from the substance on the inside. Completely different stuff. Very bizarre. The first thing I did was call my mother, right? So I'm like, hey, Mom, this blah, 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 blah. And then my mother starts going through all this ritual stuff. Oh, you got to do this stuff with salt and you need a smudge and all this. I'm like, what the hell? What is this? Who is this woman? What is she talking about? I'm not into spiritual stuff. I never, before all this happened to me, I didn't give a damn about UFOs. I was like, okay, yeah, there's probably UFOs. There's probably alien life here, whatever. I didn't care, Still now, even though I report on this stuff and share information with people because it's relative in the topic of extraterrestrials, I still don't really care all that much about UFOs. I really don't. I've seen some, and it just doesn't matter to me because I'm not on the craft. I'm not doing anything with it, so... And I'm not into spiritual. I've never been a spiritual person. So for her telling me this stuff, I'm just like, what the hell is she, So then after that, and after talking to her for about 10 minutes while I was on the phone with her, I was actually texting my ex-wife and telling her what was going on. You need to get over here. You need to see this. She comes there. It only takes her 5 or 10 minutes. On the time that she's driving from her house to my karate school is the time that I actually filmed the footage, because I kept looking at trying to figure out what the hell it is. So I got my camera out and I just briefly filmed it. I should have done more, right? I should have taken pictures. I should have just done more things. But the thing is all I'm thinking is I don't want any of my karate students or their parents to see this or know that this has even happened in this school, because I had a very popular school. I was very popular, right? I've been on Japanese television because of my school, where they did an episode on my school and we got a 10.5 rating. So it was the highest rating show that day. I have been in the newspaper multiple times because of my school. I have gotten a proclamation from the mayor of the city, which is almost the next step down from getting a key to the city, because of my school. I have been on the news because of my school. There's just a lot of stuff that I became very, very popular, right? And my school was becoming a brand in Ohio, and it was becoming very popular. And so, I didn't want anybody to know about this because I just wanted to get back to business as usual with teaching martial arts. Was this not my passion? It's not my love. It's who I am, right? Like, that's who I am. My passion is to do acting, right? But a passion is something that you can put to the side and say, I'll pursue that later or whatever. Martial arts, it's you either are a martial artist or you're not a martial artist, right? There are people who train in martial arts, but they're not a martial artist. They train, they get to their black belt, they quit, and then they're done, and they forget half the stuff or almost every damn thing they ever learned. Maybe they know one punch or one kick, but that's it. That person no longer is a martial artist. A martial artist is, or a martial artist isn't. So, just to put the perspective how important teaching and how important my school, my brand was to me, was much more important than having alien experience and sharing that with anybody. Like calling the news, calling the FBI, God forbid. You do not want to call the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, or anybody, or the police and say, hey, look, I've had alien stuff happen in here. Because in America, you just don't know what might happen to you. Maybe they just sweep you up and black bag you and take you, and you wake up in a lab somewhere. You just don't know. You have no idea. I mean, most people in America, they're afraid of their government doing something like that. So you don't share that type of information. You keep it to yourself. My ex-wife finally gets there, and when she comes to the school, she starts analyzing and looking at, she's trying to think logically, because she's not a spiritual person either, right? She's looking at these footprints too, and she's like, what the hell? She's like, are these your ninja boots? And I was like, I went and got my ninja boots, and I pulled it out, and I'm like, the toes are like a V. They're like this. No human's toes separate that far unless they're deformed, right? So, and she's like, yeah, she's like, she's like, Sean, I don't know. This is really weird. This is very, very weird. And I showed her the marks on the wall, and she's like, she's like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, I don't know either. I'm like, I don't know any. She's like, she kept asking me, what did you do? How was your day? Blah, blah, blah. All the things that you're gonna try to run through with somebody when you're trying to figure out, trying to find out something that happened, right? So I told her my entire day and what happened, and I turned on an alarm, I locked the door. She's like, are you certain she locked? I'm like, yes, I know for a fact I locked the door, and look on the other side, there's no dirt, there's no footprints, so we're looking, it's just, it's just, so she knew for sure, because she's like, yeah, this isn't human. And then it took her a little bit because I just let her, I didn't coach her on what she should think. I was asking her what she thinks, and she knows that that's how I do with martial arts too. So the way I handled her was the way I handled teaching martial arts to people, because there's a lot of woo-woo BS out there in the martial arts world. And then there's the true martial arts, which is real self-defense that's going to work on the street. So I constantly would make sure that the system that I'm teaching in martial arts is practical and effective, right? And you can only do that by constantly, practicing with students, and when you're teaching students, to make sure that it works. And if a student is like, oh, well, this doesn't work this way, then we have to figure out why it's not working, and if it's not, and if there's something wrong with that technique, then we need to either rework that technique or just get rid of it, right? So that's how I handled what I'm looking at with this anomaly that's happening in my karate school when I was put to sleep. And yes, I was put to sleep. It wasn't that I just came there and I just fell asleep. The beam, they have advanced telepathy, obviously, and with advanced telepathy, if I had advanced telepathy and you were in the room with me, or maybe you ain't gotta be in a room with me. Maybe I'm in another room or whatever. If I just pick up on your frequency, your brain waves, and I hone in just on you, I can take away your consciousness and put you to sleep. Just like I can make you, with advanced telepathy, make you forget how to breathe, right? I can make words come out of your mouth with advanced telepathy and make you say things that you would say, why the hell did I even just say that? I understand a lot of stuff now that I didn't understand before, right? Before all this happened, but now I understand it. So yeah, so she came to the same conclusion I did, that it was not human. And then one of my students just so happens to show up, right? I had sent a mass text out when I was talking to my mother on the phone while I was in between talking to my ex-wife, trying to get her to come and see what the hell's going on. And the mass text went out to all my karate students saying, hey, there's no class today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Class is canceled because I needed to clean this stuff up and I needed to gather my head and figure out what the hell's going on here. So one of my students shows up who wasn't supposed to be there, and he actually was one of my he's actually a state champion that I trained in martial arts and trained him to become a state champion, because I had a few state champions. So he was one of my serious dedicated students. And he showed up and he's like, hey, Sensei, I thought we had class today. I'm like, no, I sent out the message and you get it. And I said, because I trusted him at the time, I said, oh, you know what? Come on, come inside. I want to show you this. You have to take a look at this. So I had, not just my ex-wife, but also the student. And he said the same thing. He's like, what the hell is that? So we all came to the conclusion that it wasn't human. And then she had to go back to work. And I asked him to stay and help me clean up these footprints, right? Help me clean the place up so we can get it ready for class tomorrow. So he sweeps up the floor and I go to spray the clean off the smudges on the wall. I get this certain type of spray, and you know what, I'll keep that one to myself of what happened with that when I cleaned up the wall. I'm going to keep that one to myself. Maybe I'll share that in another video sometime later. Just in case somebody else has had the same type of experience or whatever. I want to see, if they had the same type of reaction to the chemicals. Cleaning chemicals is what I had. So yeah, I'll keep that one to myself. And then also, I didn't stay there afterwards that night. My ex-wife called me when she got off work and said, you're not going to be able to sleep, are you, there? And I said, no, it's, the thing is I wasn't scared, and I never felt like I never was afraid of what happened. I didn't like the fact that it happened to me when I was sleeping. So I felt uncomfortable with even going back to sleep in the school. So she said, if you want, you can come back to the house and come stay here, and then we'll figure something out. And she said, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep the school there? Are you going to move? And I said, you know what? I think I'm probably going to move. I'm probably going to close that location down. And not because I was afraid, but it's just something told me, it wasn't something told me. I just know that if I couldn't sleep there and if there's something else, blah, blah, I just didn't want to deal with it. I literally did not want to deal with, some type of alien species popping in and out of the school and stuff, or whatever. It wasn't something I wasn't into, I liked alien movies and stuff like that, but as far as being like an alien enthusiast, because this is 2017, by the way. So let me explain briefly what else happened in that year. Not long after what happened to me, because I went looking online to see anybody else having any type of alien experiences like I did. Not long after that, Oumuamua happened. You can look that up. That was the first interstellar object that was recorded by man, modern day man, coming into our atmosphere. And then also Lou Alessandro came out and said, hey, here's the Tic Tac and here's the gimbal. So all of that stuff happened in 2017. And right now we have 3i Atlas, which is coming into our solar system, and they will keep referring back to 2017, Oumuamua, which is when the thing happened with me. And then also right now we're getting even more disclosure from the alien stuff in front of Congress, and that's all because of Lou Alessandro in 2017 sharing the Tic Tac and the gimbal videos and saying he was from the CIA and part of a program called ATIP. So yeah, that's my story. There's more to it. That's not the end. That's just literally the beginning of everything that led me traveling around America, and how that for a while there I thought we were in a simulation, and how I was predicting 2020, and I was having telepathic moments after all this happened to me. Just a lot of stuff had happened after that. After that encounter in 2017, the alien species didn't come there just to say, hey, look, here's a human laying on the floor. It literally came there to unlock my mind and get me prepared for what's about to happen in 2027, I guess. So, and that's why I've been sharing information for starting in 2020. So from 2017 to 2020, I kept it quiet, didn't talk about anything, but eventually I ended up closing my karate school down, went into the field of mental health worker, and did that for 5 years before I ended up moving to Cambodia. So I'll share some more stories and more of this stuff. Maybe you guys might want to hear about the story how they asked me to go out to Utah and find an alien portal at an abandoned base. So yeah, I'll share the whole story of that and what happened and how I get involved with a remote viewer and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, that's my story. If you want to hear more, come back to the Galaxy Cafe channel here and share your comments, and if you have stories, if you have anything similar to that, I'd love to hear it. I'm sure my viewers would love to hear it, and the people here at the Galaxy Cafe that come in, they would love to hear those stories too. And with that, enjoy the rest of the time that you have left.